Now, government of Anambra State has set up of the Truth, Justice and Peace Committee. This is a follow-up to the outcome of the Peace Building and Security Dialogue, which was convened by Governor Chukwuma Soludo at Professor Dora Akunyili Women Development Center, Oka. Our Government House correspondent GK Abana has details.
Professor Solochukwu Lebelo performed the naming on behalf of the state government at the Government House, Oka, while Professor Chidi Odenkale will serve as the chairman of the committee. Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu will serve as the secretary. Members of the committee include Dr. Joe Nwogo, Dr. Udenta, Dr. Uju Agomo, Reverend Father Monsignor Jerome Madueke, and Canon Dr. Okechukwu Obiokoye. Others are Mr. Charles Oputa Charlieboy, Dr. John Otu, Mr. Ngozi Odumuko, Mr. Onyeka Onwenu, Dr. Joe Abba, Mr. Chukwuma Okpalaezuukwu, Mr. Sam Egwato, and Professor Joseph Ikechebelo. The committee has a period of 6 months from its inauguration to present its preliminary report and has not later than 2 months after the sunset of receipt of feedback from the state government. Recall that out of the growing concern on the spate of insecurity in Igbo land, a dialogue was convened by the state government and attended by critical stakeholders in the state, including security chiefs, religious leaders, community leaders, among others. During the meeting, a joint statement by the government of Anambra State and the joint body of Southeast Council of Traditional Rulers, Bishops and Archbishops on the state of insecurity in the Igbo homesteads was read by the chairman of Anambra State and Southeast Traditional Rulers Council, Igwe Nemeka Achebe. Specifically, the terms of reference of the committee are as follows: to identify the remote and immediate causes of the agitations, restiveness, violence, and armed struggle in the Southeast since 1999. Documentation of victims and circumstances of death, brutality, and incarceration. Identification of stakeholders and groups who have played critical roles in the agitations and conflicts, their roles, capabilities, and demands.
Nigeria is facing a historic security challenge, with the character and breadth of the conflict differing in several parts of the country. In the southeast of Nigeria, there is a mixture of separatist agitations with crass criminality. Despite the effort by law enforcement agencies and enormous human and financial resources expended in the bid to contain the conflict, including the banning stroke criminalizing of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOL, the insurgency, kidnapping, arson, brutal murder of innocent persons, etc., continues to escalate with humongous tolls in life, livelihoods, and properties lost daily. Following the arrest and detention of the leader of IPOB, the organization had, on August 9, 2021, issued a sit-at-home order every Monday throughout the Southeast. The brutal enforcement of the order has caused numerous deaths and incalculable damage to the economy of the Southeast.
Other terms of reference include addressing any other issues that may be germane to unraveling the extent of the crisis and charting the roadmap for the future, as well as make recommendations for sustainable peace and security in Anambra State and Southeast. The SSG, who pointed out that Nigeria is facing a security challenge, said that the announcement is pursuant to the call as contained in Item 7C of the joint declaration by stakeholders at the dialogue. After giving a background to the possible root cause of the problem, the SSG noted that the crisis is a mixture of separatist agitations, saying that despite expended resources to douse the tension, it continues to escalate, stressing that Anambra has suffered for the crisis, though it has the potential to leapfrog into prosperity. He also said that no systematic platform has been created to engage the various stakeholders, revealing that given the cross-border nature, it goes beyond a law enforcement problem. He further stated that the committee will report directly to the governor or whoever he appoints and are free to draw up their methodology. From the Government House, Oka, GK Abana, ABS News.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade and Commerce, and the new Supervising Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Public Enlightenment, Barrister Samuel Ike, has held a familiarization meeting with heads of departments and units, Ministry of Information and heads of parastatals and agencies attached to the ministry. Our staff reporter, Njideka Okoye, reports that the meeting was held at the office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information, Jerome Udoji Secretariat, Oka.
In the meeting, Barrister Ike stated that the essence of the meeting was to familiarize himself with the various heads of departments and units of the ministry and other parastatals attached to it, and to get ready for the incoming commissioner of the ministry. Barrister Ike noted that the meeting was essential to know the extent they have gone in readiness to receiving the new commissioner, their challenges, and how to tackle them to prepare the way. The new Supervising Permanent Secretary, while speaking on the reports on projections and challenges, asked them to review their reports before proper handover. He also hinted on laxity and lateness to work, as well as commitment to duty.
And for us to get ready for the incoming commissioner, who may likely be sworn in this week or next week. And as soon as he is sworn in, then the ministry will receive him, and then he will now commence with his responsibility as the commissioner of this ministry. This meeting, let me know how far you people have gone in readiness to receiving him, and then any challenges, how do we solve the challenges, especially the eminent one that we need to do immediately.
Present at the meeting were the Acting Managing Director, Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS, Mr. Gabe Obaleze, Director, Library Services, Professor Kenneth, DKE Central Library, Oka, Dr. Nkechi Udeze, among others. In Oka, Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
The Catholic Bishop of Oka Diocese, Most Reverend Paulinus Okafor, has regretted the spate of insecurity in the southeast region and Anambra State in particular, and noted that the culture of violence is alien to the Igbo people. Most Reverend Okafor was speaking to newsmen in Oka after a special prayer session held at the St. Patrick's Catholic Cathedral, Oka. The Catholic prelate, who explained that the church believes in the efficacy of prayer, especially with understanding that the insecurity in the southeast region now demands God's intervention, asked young people to desist from using violence to pursue legitimate cause. He acknowledged that the marginalization of Ndibo is glaring despite their numerous contributions to the betterment of Nigeria before and after independence and post-civil war, but stated that it was strange that someone who is being marginalized will allow his home to become a place of ruins and desolation. Bishop Okafor stated that dialogue remains the most important tool to resolve any form of crisis. Journalists have the moral obligations to build social values, be fair to the society, and give it what it deserves. Right Reverend Ndobisi Obi of the Nnewi Anglican Diocese made the statement when the executive members of the Nigeria Union of Journalists Anambra State Council paid him a courtesy call in his office at Nnewi. Queen Anibogu filed the report.
Bishop Obi noted that journalism in this generation is very challenging because social media has brought about journalism without coordination, which is injurious to the society, but pointed out that journalism, when properly practiced, helps the society. While mentioning several initiatives he has mapped out for the progress of the diocese, Bishop Obi commended Governor Chukwuma Soludo for his leadership style, saying that it is the kind of leadership Nigeria needs.
Before personal education, not the impact. Pentecost University, Adon for that's Vocational Technical Institute. Yes. Now, that on record now, Nnewi Diocese is the only place you get now this part of the world. You got secondary school line in secondary school, and even then on a senior primary, now they exposed to coding and robotics.
Earlier in his comments, the chairman NUJ, Anambra State Council, Dr. Emeka Odogwu, appreciated the bishop for his evangelical efforts in the diocese, the vocational institute he established in Ozubulu, among other initiatives aimed at improving the lot of youth in the diocese. Dr. Odogwu, while disclosing areas the state NUJ seeks to partner with the diocese, explained the need for donor pilot newspaper, a media arm of the diocese, to create a chapel in order to be part of NUJ.
Na during our administration chosele then we ebe na ndị otu anyị ga-eme ife ka ya ije mụtawa moto n'ilo aije n'ilo meka ọla anya afọ ego kala kala mana onye nwụrụ anya kapịna n'ofu moto ụdị ọbụla ma obele moto ma nnukwu moto ka e wee nwee ebe onye ndị otu anyị na-eje anyị si ngwa ọbụla mmadụ chairman ndị ngwa mmadụ ndị a je bụ ndị presenti anya ebe dị etu a ọ dị ebe anyị wesị ka ihe ọ bụ nwa onye nọ na diocese ga-enye nwa anyị ofu moto.
In a vote of thanks, the treasurer of the council, Comrade Ogemdi Ozemena, thanked the bishop for the warm reception given to them, saying he is a true representative of Christ, whom they are happy to associate with. Meanwhile, the Anambra State Council of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, has requested to partner with the Nnewi Catholic Diocese for a wider publicity of our activities. The chairman of the council, Dr. Emeka Odogwu, stated this when members of the executives paid homage to Most Reverend Jonas Benson Okoye of Nnewi Catholic Diocese in his office at Nnewi. Dr. Odogwu stressed the need for the media arm of the diocese to create a chapel, noting that with the support of the State Council of the NUJ, the efforts of the bishop in the diocese will go a long way. He commended the clergyman for championing the cause of the youth and prayed God to grant him all that he requires to succeed in the diocese. Responding, Most Reverend Okoye said the visit of the council to the diocese is very significant, noting that he is particularly touched by the recent security issue in Anambra State. He pointed out the enormous pains and sufferings residents of the state are passing through because of the issue, noting that Governor Chukwuma Soludo is working tirelessly to make Anambra State to work.
It is quite significant for me, and you're willing there to have disseminated the information. I'm particularly touched of what is happening in recent time in the state, in our dear state, Anambra. We were here yesterday and drove all the way from others to this place without meeting a single vehicle because it's on Monday. And the present governor is working hard, struggling to make this state work.
From Nnewi, Queen Anibogo, ABS News.
Wife of the Bishop, Anglican Diocese of Mbamili and President, Women Ministry of the Diocese, Mrs. Chizoba Ozochukwu, has called on mothers to embrace their primary responsibility of child upbringing with total commitment. Mrs. Uzochukwu, who made the call while speaking with Njideka Okoye at Mmiata Anam, Anambra West Council area, noted that child upbringing is an assignment given to women by God with an instruction to nurse them for him, urging them to be careful in discharging this assignment. Njideka Okoye has details of that report.
Advise them to create time for their homes to monitor the behavior of their children. As a serene society, she said, starts from the home. The Women Ministry, who urged women to be role models for their children, charged them to retrace from their wrongdoings, do the needful, and train their children with the fear of God.
We are giving birth to children. Always know that there is instruction attached to it, and that instruction is that God is saying, take this child, nurse this child for me. So we must be careful the way we carry out that assignment, because we will still give report to the person that gave us the assignment, who is God. He gave it to us as an assignment and is waiting for our feedback. One of the feedback is through the product of our training. The output of it will tell God whether we've done well or whether we have disappointed God.
On her part, a mother, Mrs. Joy Enendu, said, though child upbringing is the responsibility of both parents, mothers have a great role to play in character molding of children, as motherhood is a privilege given to women by God, hence should be carried out with utmost carefulness. Mrs. Enendo frowned at some mothers who leave their children at the mercy of house helps, which at times resulted in the children exhibiting strange characters, and urged them to create time to stay together. In Awka, Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
On the national scene, President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to Executive Order 11 on national public buildings maintenance. The signing of the document preceded the weekly Federal Executive Council at the Council Chambers of the State House in Abuja. In his remarks, shortly after appending his signature, President Buhari directed all ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs of government to set up maintenance departments in line with the provisions of the new executive order. On the January 4, 2019, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing presented a policy memorandum to the Federal Executive Council seeking for the approval of a draft National Public Building Maintenance Policy, which was granted. The policy set out guidelines for the maintenance of federal government buildings and assets in accordance with professional standards in order to ensure the protection and lasting utilization of the investments that have been made by way of provision of public infrastructure. On the foreign scene, the European Commission says it has begun a stockpiling operation to boost its defenses against chemical, nuclear and biological incidents amidst concern over the conflict in Ukraine. The Commission said it will increase its reserves to protective equipment, decontamination gear, medicines and vaccines that would be useful in case of chemical, nuclear or biological incidents. AU Crisis Management Commissioner Mr. Janes Lanarix said that it is taking concrete measures to increase Europe's preparedness in the face of potential threats. The EU is setting up two separate reserves, one for protective gear, drugs and vaccines against chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear threats, and a second one for decontamination material, which will be deployed to decontaminate people, infrastructure, buildings or vehicles that have been exposed to CBRN agents. The EU has begun using existing reserves to help Ukrainians exposed to possible nuclear radiation in the wake of battles near nuclear plants since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. On sports news, the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has again apologized to Nigerians for the failure of the Super Eagles to qualify for the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. This formed part of the communique issued at the end of the Federation's Executive Committee meeting held in Abuja to discuss critical issues in the nation's football sector. The NFF also reacted to the invasion of the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abuja by fans that were aggrieved by Eagles' defeat to the Ghanaian side. It stressed that the incident had nothing to do with the death of Dr. Joseph Kabungo, who was appointed as the FIFA doping officer for the Nigeria-Ghana playoff match. According to the Football Governing Board, Dr. Kabungo died as a result of sudden cardiac arrest, as attested by the autopsy report. And that concludes the news, but remember you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube page at ABS Television Oka. Follow us on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And the main news again. Anambra State Government has set up committee over insecurity. Supervising Permanent Secretary, Anambra Information Ministry, Ike, has met with MDs of parastatals, heads of departments and units in Awka. President Buhari has assented to executive order on maintenance of public buildings. And on the foreign scene, we brought you a report that the EU has moved to boost defenses against chemical nuclear incidents in Ukraine. And here is a special message. Governor Chukwuma Soludo has come for a total turnaround maintenance of the Anambra state economy, and promotion of core Igbo values. Let's give him maximum support for the task ahead. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nonya Nwokoye. Good morning and have a great day.